Cup coverage for 1964 continues. In just a moment, we're going to head out to the CNE Stadium. Of course, being the Grey Cup, there's a lot more pregame activity than in the average football game that we see during the season. For example, in a few moments before the game, you'll see the majorettes from Hamilton, from BC. You'll hear bands. Of course, there'll be player introductions, and one of the big features is the official kickoff. And making the kickoff this year will be the Right Honorable Lester B. Pearson, Prime Minister of Canada. He'll be in company with the mayors of Toronto and Hamilton and a representative of the mayor of Vancouver, the home site of the BC Lions. And they'll be accompanied by Miss Grey Cup of 1964, the charming young lady who was Miss Montreal Alouette until last night when she was crowned. The weather, well, as I said a few moments ago, it's still drizzling, but at least the temperature is up around the 50 mark. Now, let's go out to the CNE Stadium and Dan Kelly.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan Kelly with Don Whitman at CNE Stadium, just prior to the start of the 1964 Grey Cup game between the British Columbia Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Don Whitman, you have been following the BC Lions all season long. How about telling us something about them?
Well, Dan, 1964 to this hour of November 28th has been the most successful in the 11-year history of the British Columbia Lions. Under head coach Dave Scrine, the Lions have finished first in the Western Conference for the second straight season. This year, the Lions won 11, they lost 2, and tied 3. They finished with 25 points, one more than the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions this year scored an average of 20 points per game, and their vaunted defensive unit allowed only 10 points per game. The Lions went undefeated through their first 10 games of the season. They weren't beaten until October 5th, when Montreal finally turned the trick. Then in the Western playoffs against the Calgary Stampeders, the Lions won the best-of-3 series 2-1. The Lions are deep in talent. They have much more poise than last year, and they have a lot of pride. Much has been written and said about the defensive club and the play of their great linebacker, Tom Brown. Most people feel that Hamilton will have difficulty scoring. Offensively, the Lions rely on rookie fullback Bob Swift for much of their ground game, but the pass is the explosive part of the BC attack.
Okay, Don, now down to the playing field, and referee Paul Dojak in the flipping of the coin to see what team will be kicking off, what team will be receiving.
One more. Seymour is supposed to play. Get up there. Right up to the... Oh, come here. It's good at it. Give us another second.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats will receive. The BC Lions will kick off as the respective captains, Joe Kapp and Norm Fieldgate of the Lions, Bernie Filoni and John Barrow of the Tiger Cats now head for the dressing room. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto. Working with me today will be the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Bud Grant. Bud, you've been in this Grey Cup many times in a different role. Just what's the feeling of a head coach at this time before a ball game such as this?
It's almost relief, Dan. When that kickoff starts, this is the culmination of the whole season. And I know, talking to Dave Scrine last night, I saw him at the Grey Cup dinner. He was like in knots, and Ralph the same way. So it'll be a relief to get this game underway.
I saw in one of the Toronto newspapers, Bud, something that you never do. You made a prediction. You predicted the Lions would beat the Tiger Cats something like 29-13. Could you give us your reasoning behind that? First of all, how come you made a prediction?
Well, can I retract a little bit now, looking at the weather? Really, we in the West are very confident of BC's chances. The defense is the big thing. They've allowed, as you stated, 10 points per game. And Joe Kapp. Joe's had a wonderful year, is emerging as one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever had in Canadian football. And with these two things, they can score a lot of points and keep you off that scoreboard also.
Let's get into it a little closer, Bud. If the BC Lions are going to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats, where and how are they going to do it?
Well, the first thing, the defense is going to get them the ball in scoring position. We're coaching terms is field position. And anything outside of your own 30-yard line, you can utilize your whole offense. And BC will do that. Their defense is very tough. I think Hamilton will have a difficult time rushing against them. They may have some success with the short pass. Nobody's had a lot of success with the long pass against Vancouver. So the defense will get the ball. Cap has emerged as a great passer. The long, the short, the standing up, the rolling out, the bootleg, the action pass, anything that you want to name, he's become almost a master at it. His receivers have also come to the fore. People like Pat Claridge is having a great year out there. Burton has come back off an injury to almost where he was before the injury. Homer, of course, another great receiver, comparable to Tucker and Tommy Grant that you have out here in the East. Morris, who comes out of that backfield, and of course we can't forget Willie Fleming. Doesn't catch the ball maybe as well as the rest, but once he gets it, he's doubly tough to bring down. So Cap will utilize all of his players as receivers. Now, the inside running game, of course, is strictly Swift. I don't think they'll handle Hamilton on the inside, but Swift he'll pick up 70 or 80 yards probably in the ball game if they can utilize the whole offense today.
I don't know if you've mentioned it, Bud, but we here in the East hear constantly that you just can't run against the BC Lions. Hamilton have a very versatile attack with Filoni's passing and with the hard running of Bethea and Baker and Counts on the outside. Do you feel that they can run against that BC defense?
They can run. Calgary's run against them, and teams have run against them, but not consistently. I mean, you're not going to run 10 plays from your other side of the other end of the field down for a touchdown. But I think Filoni has the ability to mix his plays up well enough. He's certainly one of the smartest quarterbacks we have in Canadian football, and he'll be able to mix his plays up. I'm sure that Hamilton will go into the game with certain things in mind, and you watch the plays that are going to work, they're going to be repeated. And it'll be the short pass by Filoni, many ways to get the ball up. For example, Counts. I look for Counts to carry the ball a lot on the outside, the field permitting. But you're not going to run up the middle consistently against Tom Brown and company.
We mentioned how BC perhaps could beat Hamilton, or how Hamilton could beat BC. What about the other way around? Is there a weakness in the Hamilton club or in either club, for that matter?
No, I think you have two clubs that really are very solid. That's the reason they're in there. Good defense, we think, is the key to winning, and they both have great defensive teams. I think the emergence of what we're getting in Canadian football, bigger and bigger and bigger people. And both of these teams are the biggest in the East and the West, respectively, probably. The weakness, I don't think you can find a real weakness in either one unless it's the outside running of BC. Willie hasn't had that good a year with just the old sweep play like we used to run. And against Hamilton, I don't think you'll find Willie getting outside a lot either because of their strong defense. So the outside running of both teams might be just a little bit weak, but defensively they're both very sound.
Okay, Bud, we'll see what happens in the ball game. And right now we're going down to field level. First of all, just waiting for the Lions and Tiger Cats to make their appearance on the sideline. And now to Don Whitman and the introduction of the British Columbia Lions.
The Lions will introduce their offensive unit. Number 41 is the center from Montana State, Gary Schwartzegger. Number 54, the left guard, 6 feet, 237 pounds, Tom Hinton. Number 58, the right guard, 6'3", 229 pounds, from Vancouver, Steve Cotter. Number 68, the left tackle, 6'3", 250 pounds, from Whitworth College, Ken Sugarman. Number 61, the right tackle, 6 feet 1, 236 pounds, from Brigham Young, Lonnie Dennis. Number 76, the left end, from San Jose State, Mac Burton. He stands 6'1", weighs 191 pounds. Number 78 is the right end, 6'2", 211 pounds, from Washington, Pat Claridge. Number 21 is the flanker, 6'1", 189 pounds, from Vancouver, Sonny Homer. The rookie fullback of the BC Lions, number 35, Bob Swift, 6'1", 235 pounds, from Clemson. Number 18 is the left halfback, 6'2", 197 pounds, from Tulsa, Ronnie Morris. Number 15, the right halfback, 5'9", 183 pounds, one of the explosive backs of Canadian football, Willie Fleming. And the quarterback of the BC Lions, number 22, 6'2", 212 pounds, from California, Joe Kapp. That's the starting offensive unit for the British Columbia Lions.
The BC Lions.
As I mentioned earlier, to this stage of the 1964 season, this has been the most successful ever for the British Columbia Lions. They hope to climax this football year with their first Grey Cup ever this afternoon. Dan, how about the starting lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Just waiting for the Ticats to be introduced, Don. We might mention that not dressed for the BC Lions today are Lou Holland, Mel Malin, and Emery Barnes. For the Tiger Cats, not dressed will be defensive halfback Jackie Simpson. He's a man that missed the last game of the Eastern Final against Ottawa with a pulled hamstring. Bobby Gators and Mike Duffy are not dressed as well. The starting lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, number 46 is Chet Mixa, the center. Number 54, left guard Allison Kelly. There's number 63, the right guard from Northwestern, Gene Gossage. Number 66 is the left tackle from Notre Dame, Ed Herster. Here's Bronco Nagurski, another Notre Dame graduate. He's number 60 and is the right tackle. Number 77 at left end, Hal Patterson. The rookie right end, number 75 from Duke, Stan Cresson. The flanker, number 18, Tommy Grant, the outstanding Canadian player this year. The fullback, number 25, Art Baker, playing on a bad ankle but will be starting. The left halfback, number 28, Johnny Counts from Illinois in his first year with the Ticats. The right halfback is number 16, Willie Bethea. And here's a hard-running, valuable back with the Ticats. The quarterback, number 10, Bernie Filoni, standing with head coach Ralph Sazio. Filoni, a veteran of Grey Cup competition from Maryland, and one of the key factors in the Tiger Cat lineup, of course, today. The starting offensive lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, of course, the defending Grey Cup champions. The Ticats, incidentally, have been in the Grey Cup 7 times, or have won the Grey Cup 7 times since 1921. They've been in the Grey Cup 6 times in the last 7 years. However, they've only won 2 of those, thanks to Bud Grant. The Tiger Cat offensive lineup now heading to the bench. As I mentioned, the temperature, 49 degrees. A light rain still falling at CNE Stadium. The winds are south-southeast at 20 miles per hour. Steve Douglas was saying earlier he's on the field, and at field level, the winds, according to Steve, won't be that bothersome. And now the official party just approaching midfield for the opening kickoff. In the official party is Prime Minister Pearson, along with the president of the Canadian Football League, Mr. Sam Berger. Mayor Philip Gibbons of Toronto is there. Mayor Victor Copps of Hamilton. Representing the city of Vancouver is Alderman Tom Campbell. And, of course, Miss Grey Cup, Susan Brown of Montreal, is in the center field party as well. Commissioner Halter out there, along with several other football dignitaries. And the number of people at center field aren't all in the official party. There must be 40 photographers out there.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, God Save the Queen, followed by O Canada.
Now, God Save the Queen and O Canada. official kickoff for the Grey Cup game. Prime Minister Pearson kicking off to officially open the 64 Grey Cup game. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto.
Hi, everyone. Don Whitman with Dan Kelly. We're just about set to start the 1964 Grey Cup. Norm Fieldgate moves up to the ball, and end-over-end boot. But it's coming down to Johnny Counts. He takes it at his goal line to the 5, the 10. He's dropped on the 20-yard line. Bill Lassiter, the first man down to still him. Paul Seal was also there, 71, and number 68, Ken Sugarman. A 65-yard kickoff and a 20-yard return. Al Patterson, the left end. Ed Herster, the left tackle. Ellison Kelly, the left guard, as that BC defensive unit gets set. This is the rough, tough BC defensive unit that allowed an average of 10 points per game this season. Bernie Poloni, the quarterback. And on the first carry, it's Willie Bethea with Mike Martin making the tackle for the BC Lions. Gain of 3, it will be 2nd and 7 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The ball at the 23 of the Ticats. BC Lions wearing the light-colored jerseys. They're protecting the west end of CNE Stadium. Baker runs into the arms of Mike Martin. Paul Seal from his corner linebacking spot, also over to assist on that tackle. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are forced into a kicking situation. Gain of 2.5. It will be 3rd and 4. Bill Lassiter and Ron Morris are back to receive this kick from the boot of Joe Zuger. Bounces at midfield. Lassiter dives into Hamilton territory to the Hamilton 51-yard line. Bobby Kuntz was there to make the tackle with help from Dave Vitti. A 30-yard punt and a 5-yard return.
Bud, did you notice anything about either team on the first series of plays that they were doing differently?
Well, BC was in their standard defense. No change there.
Joe Cap in the I formation. A handout to the fullback Swift. He hurdles the 50-yard line. Bobby Kuntz, the inside linebacker for Hamilton, making the tackle. 74 is Pete Newman, 44 is Gino Cepitelli, 61 John Barrow, number 9 is Joe Zuger, 23 is Bobby Kuntz. Ticats wearing the dark uniforms, protecting the east end of CNE Stadium. Incomplete. In and out of the arms of Pat Clary. Joe Zuger covering on Clary.
I think you'll see a lot of that, Don. There was no middle linebacker in there, and you'll see Claridge hooking over that middle, I think, the next series of plays.
The BC Lions will now punt for the first time in the ball game. Tommy Grant and Garney Henley are back. A low snap. Beaumont still gets a good kick away. Taken by Grant at the 9. Grant, the outstanding Canadian ball player this year, is dropped on the 13-yard line. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. A 41-yard kick and a 4-yard return. It's 1st and 10 Hamilton, the ball on their own 15. Baker still going. Very close to a first down, about a 9-yard gain. Bill Muncy finally caught up with him.
Baker, the ball carrier.
Don Baker showing no signs of that gimpy ankle which kept him out of the last game of the Eastern Final against the Ottawa Rough Riders, running very hard.
A gain of 9, it's 2nd and 1 for the Ticats. Ball located at the Hamilton 24-yard line. Nexa over the ball. Dick Bouts a little anxious. The marker is down. We'll wait for the official call from the field.
Only the ball carrier.
Bernie Filoni scooted straight ahead.
Kazapas made the tackle, flag on the play.
Offside, says head referee Paul Dojak, against the BC Lions. The 5-yard penalty will give Hamilton a first down. The ball now at the Hamilton 29.
First down, Tiger
11 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. No score in the football game. 1964 Grey Cup. The British Columbia Lions, the Western champions. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Eastern Conference champions, and the defending Grey Cup champions. Grant flanks out to the right. Baker. A fumble. The ball is loose. The pile up the players. Norm Fieldgate made the tackle. Who recovered the football? Dan Cresson was the bottom man who pounced on the loose football for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It will go in as a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6.
The ball right now is in one of the greasy parts of the field, as we were mentioning, the part of the field that was skinned by the Canadian National Exhibition grandstand show.
From the 34, 2nd and 6, Hamilton. Filoni to throw. Fine catch by Tom Grant. Bill Muncie knocked him into touch just as he received that football. And it's another first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, an 11-yard gain.
Caught Muncie on the slippery part of that field there, Don. He made his cut, and Muncie couldn't catch up with him. You might see more of that.
The Ticats break that huddle quickly. Counts. Hit hard by Mike Martin. He crossed the 45 to the 48. And Martin, who plays that right defensive end position, came over very quickly and hit him very hard.
That's 3 unassisted tackles for Martin already. There's one of their underrated ball players in that defensive wall.
But I think in the final few games of the season for the Lions, he was one of the strong points of that defensive line. Grant grabs it, but it's ruled incomplete. Apparently he had stepped into touch from the far side of the field. Vi Bailey was over defending on Grant. That leaves Hamilton with 3rd and 7, the ball at the 48 of the Ticats. Bill Lassiter, number 34, Ron Morris, number 18, the punt return team back at their own 25. Zuger is standing on his own 34. It hangs up in the wind, fielded by Morris. He's dropped at the 38.
See the sparkling 65 Comet at your Mercury dealers, and you'll forget about the others.
That was a 29-yard kick by Zuger and the 5-yard return. It's first down for the British Columbia Lions. The ball at the 39. In the I formation, Cap the quarterback. Homer flanked out to the left. Cap flips it up in the air. Intercepted by Barney Henley. The intended receiver was Sonny Homer, and Homer made the tackle on Henley down on the 34-yard line. Bobby Kuntz was applying the big rush on Joe Cap. Cap flipped that football up there. Henley came up with the big interception as the Ticats take over. 1st and 10, the ball on their own 34.
Henley was one of the leaders in the East with 6 interceptions over the season, Don.
Grant flank left. Filoni on the draw to the fullback, Baker. Baker is stopped at the 40.
This drizzle has just about subsided out here. I think you'll see more passing now. There's that ball is pretty well dry. They're not changing it as much as they were.
A gain of 6, it will be 2nd and 4. The ball at the 40. BC, the light-colored jerseys. The Hamilton Tiger Cats breaking from the huddle, wearing the dark-colored uniform. This is Bethia. A big first down as he gallops to the 53. Steve Schaefer moved up to make the tackle, but not before number 16, Willie Bethia, had romped for 13 yards.
Ball at their own 53-yard line.
8 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in quarter number one. No score in the 1964 Grey Cup Classic between Hamilton and BC. Bethia runs into a brick wall led by middle linebacker Tom Brown and defensive tackle Mike Kasich.
Fouts made the tackle.
Dick Fouts, number 70, is
Gain
also
3
in
on
there.
the play, 2nd and 8.
Gain of 2, it will be 2nd and 8. The ball located at midfield. Fouts, Kasich, Kasapis, and Martin, the front wall. Fieldgate, Balicki, Brown, and Seal are the linebackers for BC. Muncie, Beaumont, Schaefer, and Bailey, the defensive halfbacks. Incomplete. The intended receiver was Hal Patterson. Steve Schaefer was over covering on Patterson.
Patterson slipped on that play. He hit that slippery part there and went down. Otherwise, the pass would have been right in there.
Third and 8 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Lassiter and Morris are dropping back. Joe Zuger, the Hamilton kicker. Again, that ball hangs up in the breeze. Fielded by Morris. At the 35, Gino Cepitelli pulls the feet out from under him. The BC Lions will have a first down at that point. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. First and 10 for the BC Lions. Willie Fleming. Joe Zuger moving up quickly. Pulled the feet out from under of Willie Fleming, and Bud
made the tackle.
Fleming, with one more move there, might just have done.
It looks like Zuger is keen on Fleming. He lines up in the middle in that I formation and follows Willie over. And had they had somebody on Zuger, Willie would have been gone there. But Zuger seems to be shadowing Fleming on at least at most of their defenses.
2nd and 4. Morris flanked wide to the left. The big fullback, Swift, is across the 45 and will be very close to a first down.
With the ball carrier.
John Barrow, one of the outstanding linemen in Canada, making the tackle. He's number 61 for the Ticats. 44 is Cepitelli, 74 is Pete Newman. Referee Paul Dojak calls for a measure on this one. Six minutes and 38 seconds till quarter time. It is a first down, BC. In case you've just joined our Grey Cup telecast, no score in the ball game, and that's the first down picked up by the BC Lions. Morris and Homer flank left. Swift, the fullback,
With the ball
stopped
carrier.
by Gino Cepitelli.
Made the tackle.
A gain of 2, it will be 2nd and 8.
Gain of a yard and a half on the play. 2nd down.
74 is Pete Newman. The other members of that front wall for Hamilton defensively, Vitti, Mosca, Barrow, Cepitelli, Cars, Kuntz, and Zuger are the linebackers. Morris flanks right. Homer to the left. Morris grabs the pass and is dropped down at the 36-yard line by Dick Cohey. A 27-yard gain and a big first down for the BC Lions.
First down.
This is a very important first down and also a big play, something that BC has used quite often, the curl into Homer with Willie taking Zuger out of the area in front of it.
First down, BC at the Hamilton 36. Cap flanks two men right. Morris in motion right. Cap to throw. Fleming incomplete.
The 65 Mercury, rich in the Lincoln Continental tradition. At your Mercury dealers now.
But another case there of that slippery turf possibly being a factor in Fleming's pass pattern.
Yes, and that was the same pattern the other way that they just completed down here. So they were coming right back with it before the adjustment or recognition took place in Hamilton's part.
18, Ronnie Morris. 41, Schwartzberger up over the ball. Second down for the BC Lions from the 36. Cap gets the chase from Vitti. Throws. Fleming down at the 3-yard line. Dick Cohey putting a halt to Willie Fleming, a 33-yard gain. And Willie the Wisp Fleming, who last year missed most of the Grey Cup game because of an injury, has been a prominent factor thus far in this one.
Cohey having the same trouble with footing there. He fell on the play when Fleming cut.
First and touchdown, the ball at the 3. Swift hurdles the line. He's short. He'll be down to about the 1.
Swift, the ball carrier.
A pileup of Hamilton and BC players. Pete Newman and Ellison Kelly
Newman
are
and
in there
Kelly
for
made
the
the tackle. Gain of 2 on the play.
Hamilton Tiger Cats. A gain of 2. The ball at the 1. 4 minutes and 24 seconds till quarter time. No score in the football game. Second and touchdown from the 1 for the BC Lions. Swift again. Touchdown. Bob Swift, the rookie fullback from Clemson, number 35. One of the leading rushers in the West this year, scoring his first Grey Cup touchdown as the BC Lions go out in front by a score of 6-0. Swift has carried the ball 5 times for 12 yards. Peter Kemp will attempt the extra point. Peter Oler will hold. He will pin the ball at about the 17. Good, and the Lions now lead 7-0.
Bud, how about an analysis of the touchdown march?
Well, the 2 key plays, of course, was the one to Morris out here in the left flat, and then the one to Willie. And I think Willie made a smart play because Cohey had him covered all the way deep, and Willie saw he couldn't beat him deep, so he turned short. And this is the type of thing that Cap does very well. He recognized this, although Willie, I think, on that pattern was a secondary receiver, had a clearing action to run. He turned back, Cap hit him, and that was down inside of the 5-yard line and a touchdown.
The BC Lions, Norm Fieldgate, again ready to kick off. Johnny Counts and Willie Bethea are the deep men back at their own goal line. Another good kick. Fielded by Bethea, who slips, fumbles the football. He fights to the 19.
Fieldgate kickoff.
Bill Lassiter made the tackle. Hamilton has a first down at that point. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. 3 minutes and 50 seconds till quarter time. The BC Lions leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats 7-0. This is Counts. And making a fine defensive play, the Canadian lineman of the year, Tom Brown.
Going to the line by Brown.
There's a case where Tom Brown, with his great size of 250 pounds and still the speed to go in there and catch Counts, shows why he's our best football player this year.
One of the most noticeable changes in linemen in recent years, not only do they have the size, they also possess great agility and speed. A loss of 3 at 2nd and 13. Poloni to throw. He moves with that football. Up to the 25, and again, Tom Brown and Norm Fieldgate make the tackles for the BC Lions.
Fieldgate and Brown made the tackle.
Poloni is still about 3 yards short of a first down.
Third down, 4 yards to go.
Number 34, Lassiter. Number 18, Morris are back for this third down punt from the boot of Joe Zuger. The wind holds it up again. Fielded by Morris at midfield. Bob Krause was the first man to hit him. He got away from him, and finally John Simba and Sepatelli made the tackle. A 30-yard kick, and he lost 2 on the return.
The Lions have this win now for another 2 minutes, so look for Dave Scrine telling Joe Cap to get another one on the board while they have the win here.
The wind was from the south-southeast at 20 miles per hour at the start of the game. I believe it has increased in velocity since then. 3 men flanked out to the left. Coons has got Cap for a loss.
Split 3 men out here looking for Burton on the weak side with single coverage, and Burton just couldn't get down there far enough.
Second down. About 18 yards to go.
A loss of 8 at 2nd and 18. The ball at the British Columbia 47. 7-0. The BC Lions lead the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2 minutes and 7 seconds till quarter time. Sutherland, Goldston, Cohey, and Henley are the deep backs defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Homer flanked right, Morris to the left. The handoff to Fleming. Fleming is back to the midfield stripe, and again Joe Zuger makes the tackle. But again, a situation of Zuger keying on Fleming.
Yes, although Hamilton's using different defenses out there. They've got 2 or 3 that they're alternating with, where BC is going basically with 1 defense.
Grant and Henley are back. Neil Beaumont, the British Columbia kicker, standing at his own 42. A high kick with the wind at his back. Bounces to Henley at the 15. He's knocked into touch by Jim Carpenter.
Out of bounds at the Hamilton 17-yard line. First and Tiger Cats.
A 42-yard kick by Beaumont and a 4-yard return. Fouts, Kasich, Kasapis, and Martin, the front 4 for the BC Lions, with an average weight of 250 pounds. First down, Hamilton. Ball at the 17. Filoni keeps.
Only the ball carrier.
A mix-up in that play, now I don't know what it was.
Zappas made the tackle.
Maloney's the only one that moved.
Gain of a yard in the play. Second and 9.
50 seconds remaining till quarter time. A gain of 1. It's 2nd and 9.
Hamilton's been in their own end of the field all the time. Only hasn't been able to open up yet.
7-0 for the British Columbia Lions over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2nd and 9. Counts in motion to the left. Baker, the fullback, is up to the 24. Mike Martin wrapped one arm around him. And Gus Kasapis also had a hand in that tackle. It's short of the first down. And again, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will be forced into a kicking situation. Dropping back for the British Columbia Lions, Bill Lassiter and Ron Morris. Zuger has punted 4 times, and into that breeze, he has averaged just 28.5 yards per kick. No chance for a run back as it goes into touch at the BC bench. And the BC Lions will have probably just 1 play from scrimmage in this first quarter. Just 3 seconds show on the scoreboard. They lead the football game 7-0. That punt by Zuger traveled 25 yards. Cap gives to Swift. Swift is hit hard by Gino Sepatelli and Angelo Mosca as the gun sounds to end the first quarter. The score, 7-0 in favor of the British Columbia Lions. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto.
Dan Kelly with Don Whitman and Bud Grant back at CNE Stadium. Some of the first quarter statistics. Hamilton had 3 first downs, BC 4. The Ticats picked up 57 yards rushing, the Lions 27. The Ticats 11 yards passing, and the Lions 59.
Second down for the Lions. The ball at the 49. Cap fakes. Rolls left. Newman, the big rush. He gets the pass away, and a fine catch. Down on the 29-yard line by number 18, Ron Morris. Garney Henley, number 26, was back covering, and Bud Grant. Morris went high in the air to grab that one.
Well, this is the thing Morris does exceptionally well. He catches the ball in the crowd, and there he just a little bit bigger than Henley and took the ball away.
A big gain, 20 yards, and it's first down, BC. The ball at the Hamilton 29. Didi, Mosca, Barrow, Sepatelli, and Newman. The front wall defensively for the Ticats. Swift, the fullback. Across the 25 to the 24. John Barrow making the tackle for Hamilton. 29 was the line of scrimmage. It's a gain of 5. It will be 2nd and 5. 64 is Mosca. 24 is Coe. 70 Didi. 73 Zeno Cars. 22, Don Southern. 61, John Barrow. There's an injured BC Lion.
Swift got shaken up on that play, Don.
The injured BC Lion is Bob Swift.
And Bill Muncy, number 20, will come in to replace number 35, Bob Swift, who is assisted from the field by trainer Roy Cavalin and Bobby Ackles.
Cap is now batting 500 and passing, Don. He's thrown 6 times, completed 3 for 79 yards.
2nd and 5 for the Lions. Homer flanks right. Muncy still fighting and is finally dumped down on the 14 by Garney Henley.
Well, of course, Muncy's been working out there all year, and he's a big boy. He's 220 pounds, so watch him. He may have a big day. It may be his opportunity.
You've had several occasions of that happening to your club, Bud, where some second stringers have come in and enjoyed great success in Grey Cup competition. First down for the BC Lions. The ball at the 14. Intended for Homer, incomplete. He was being chased over there by Don Southern, and it will be 2nd and 10 for the British Columbia Lions.
2nd and 10.
Bud Homer playing with that rib cartilage injury. Have you noticed he slowed down a step, or is it affecting him at all?
No, his timing on that play was excellent, actually. It's just the crosswind, or throwing that ball with the wind right down the field, I just think took it out of his hands, although he's well covered by Southern on that play.
British Columbia Lions leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats 7-0. The Lions in scoring position again. 2nd and 10 from the 14. Muncy. Angelo Mosca made the tackle. The football went loose. Zeno Cars came up with it. Apparently, the whistle had blown before the ball was fumbled by Muncy. 3rd and 5. This could be a field goal situation as Peter Kemp is coming into the football game. The BC Lions leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats 7-0, 12 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Pete Oler is also in. Oler will pin.
Kemp has been good on 15 of 25 this year.
He is kicking almost straight away. Oler fumbles the football and then flips it out. Touchdown!
Was a case of this play. The end was going down to cover, and Oler very alertly found him in the end zone for a touchdown.
Jim Carpin, number 72, was the man who squeezed that toss from Pete Oler as the BC Lions go out in front 13-0. From our end zone camera, Peter Kemp will attempt the extra point. It's wide. The score remains 13-0 in favor of the BC Lions over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. On videotape,
Here's Oler fumbling the ball. Watch Carpin there. Look for the kick, and there's the ball thrown to him by Pete Oler. This is the type of heads-up football that wins football games, Don.
back to the live action. The BC Lions with a 13-0 lead with 12 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Will be kicking off to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Not quite as deep this time. Willie Bethea and Johnny Counts. As number 75, Norm Fieldgate, prepares to kick off. Bethea at the 15, slips at the 20, and is down on the 29. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. A 52-yard kickoff and a 15-yard return. It's 1st and 10 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The ball at the Hamilton 29. 13-0, the BC Lions lead. Filoni with the wind, takes to the air. Grant. Walt Balicki making the tackle on Tommy Grant at the 53.
Hal Patterson cleared for Grant. Grant came in behind. Big play.
A 24-yard gain on that pass completion from Bernie Filoni to Tommy Grant. Grant honored earlier this week as the outstanding Canadian player in the CFL. At the 53, Filoni to throw. Patterson, the ball is loose. Picked up by Norm Fieldgate. Fieldgate is mowed under at his own 44 by Chet Mixa. Hal Patterson grabbing that throw from Bernie Filoni. It went loose to number 75, Norm Fieldgate. Very alertly recovered for the BC Lions.
Well, that was a case of Filoni having to get back in this ball game, opening the thing up. 2 fine receptions. That ball's a little slippery, and this type of thing can happen. Alert play by Norm Fieldgate. Another break for BC.
Steve Schaefer was the man who came in to hit Patterson on that tackle, possibly jarring the ball loose. Homer flanks to the right. Cap keeping. No room. Dave Beatty was the man who wrapped his arms around BC quarterback Joe Cap. But was that another broken play?
That was a broken play. Joe looked around. The ball may have slipped a little bit. The fact that Muncie's in there may have made a difference.
Cap got back to the original line of scrimmage. The ball is at the 43 of BC. It's 2nd and 10. The Lions, with 10 minutes and 44 seconds remaining, lead by a score of 13-0. In the I formation, Homer flanks right. Fine catch by Morris. Morris is stopped at the 50. Garney Henley there to make the tackle immediately upon the reception.
Good rush on Cap now. He's been knocked down the last 3 times. He's got to hurry his throws. He doesn't have time for those long ones.
A gain of 8. It will be 3rd and 2. The ball at the 50. 10 minutes and 30 seconds remaining till halftime. The British Columbia Lions leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats 13-0 in this 1964 Grey Cup Classic at CNE Stadium in Toronto. Beaumont dropping back to front. He'll be kicking into the breeze for the first time on 2
Cap
kicks.
in one of those fullback positions. What?
Garney Henley fielding that ball at the 28. It was a 28-yard kick.
VA hopes you are enjoying this Grey Cup telecast and invites you to turn in at the sign of the big VA.
26 Schaefer, 71 Paul Steele, 64 Martin as the Ticats. Maloney drops back. Knocked down by Paul Steele. The intended receiver was number 18, Tommy Grant. Number 71, Paul Steele, batting that one away.
Well, there were two receivers in that area. I'm sure that wasn't supposed to be. That was a good pattern. One of them should have been open. We might see that again also.
Second and 10 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ball at the Hamilton 33. They trail the Lions 13-0. 9 minutes and 48 seconds remain till the half. Grant flanks to the left. Patterson's got it. And Steele's got Patterson.
That was the case. Walt Bilecki put the rush on Filoni and left that zone open, and Filoni very wisely picked out Patterson, who had nobody in front of him.
A 14-yard gain. It's first down Hamilton at the 47.
Mentioning Patterson, Don, he's one of 20 All-Stars in this ball game today. 11 Eastern All-Stars from the Ticats, 9 from the Lions. No wonder these two teams are in the Grey Cup game.
Filoni has completed 4 of 7 tosses for 69 yards. He's going to throw again. The long one for Patterson. Incomplete. Steve Schaefer, number 26, was back covering on 77, Hal Patterson, along with By Bailey, number 38. And it will be second and 10 for the Ticats at their own 47.
They tried to split that zone again, trying to send Patterson right between Bailey and Schaefer, and he was there, although they recovered well, and that's what BC does extremely well, but it was a well-run pattern by Patterson trying to split that zone.
Mixa, the offensive center for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Filoni, number 10, the quarterback. Incomplete. Counts momentarily seemed to have it. He was being covered by Neil Beaumont and Steve Schaefer. And the incompleted pass attempted to number 28, Johnny Counts, leaves Hamilton third and 10 from their own 47. 8 minutes and 28 seconds till halftime. Morris and Lassiter drop back. Duger will be kicking from his own 32. He's averaged 27.8 yards on 5 kicks. Oh, he catches hold of that one. Way back into the end zone. Lassiter chasing it. And he's going to concede the single point as the Hamilton Tiger Cats on a 78-yard kick by Joe Zuger hit the scoreboard with 8 minutes and 6 seconds till halftime. The British Columbia Lions lead it 13-1.
Well, they've got BC down in their own end for the first time now, and we'll see what kind of pressure Hamilton can put on the BC Lions down here when they have the wind advantage.
13-1 is the score in favor of the British Columbia Lions. Touchdowns by Swift and Carpin. First down BC, the ball at their own 25. Morrison Homer flank left. Cap on what, again, may be a broken play, picks up some good yardage as he's up to the 37. Dave Beatty making the tackle.
Well, it's apparent that Muncie is not familiar with the timing out there, and again, Cap missed Muncie going into the line and had to carry himself, but he got the first down anyway.
73 Cars, 22 is Southern, 70 Beatty as Hamilton sets defensively. First down for the BC Lions as Cap went for 11. The ball at the 36. Morris making another fine catch as Garney Henley pulled the feet out from under him as soon as he received it. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. A gain of 11 on that pass to Morris. It's first down. Morris has caught 4 for 4 for 63 yards. At the 47, Cap flanks Homer right. Willie Fleming. And no running room as that rough, tough Hamilton defensive unit on the left side converges on him, led by number 70, Dave Vitti.
Running the ball carrier, leading and marking the tackle. In the yard of the play, that's
64 is Angelo Mosca, 70 Vitti. 13-1, the British Columbia Lions are leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats with 6 minutes and 8 seconds till halftime. A gain of 1 at 2nd and 9. Complete to Sonny Homer. And Homer is hit at the 46, but he's got another first down.
Once again, televised football is BA's way of saying thank you for turning in at the sign of the big BA.
ball down to the 46-yard line.
Once again, the ability of Cap to pick out that open receiver. They flooded the zone, put 4 men out here on the right side, and Cap wiggled enough time to find that open receiver.
A 15-yard gain, and BC has a first down at the 46. Willie Fleming trying to find some blocking. Look out! Touchdown! 46 yards for Willie Fleming. And Garney Henley, who is back trying to maneuver with Fleming, just could not find any part of Willie the Wisp as he wiggled and danced into the end zone for the major score. What a great run.
Yes, it was. And there was another defense where Zuger was keen on Fleming, but he got cut off in the shuffle on the inside, and Willie got the running room where the slippery field went in there.
It's 19-1 for the British Columbia Lions over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Kemp will try to make it 20-1. He does. There was a flag on that play. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto. The extra point was good. The penalty, rough play against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, with the result that the BC Lions will be kicking off from the Hamilton 50-yard line. 5 minutes and 14 seconds till halftime. British Columbia Lions 20, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 1. Bob Swift, Jim Carpin, and Willie Fleming on that great run, scoring the touchdowns for the British Columbia Lions. Fleming has carried the ball 4 times and has picked up 62 yards, 46 of them coming on that last run. Fieldgate will kick it off for British Columbia. Counts and Bethia in the end zone. It's taken by Counts. Counts is grabbed by Bill Lassiter as he hits the 25-yard line. A 52-yard kick, a 22-yard return. Let's watch that run by Willie Fleming.
There goes Willie. Watch Zuger on the middle, move over. Willie takes the ball, gets in the pile. Zuger's cut off, gets daylight. In the slippery field, he has the advantage here over Henley, who slips and falls down, and Willie's in for the touchdown.
A great run.
Back to the live play. First down for Hamilton. The ball at the 20. Maloney shooting a low one out there. It was intended for Johnny Count. Walt Balicki and Mike Kasich, 44 and 67 in the light-colored uniforms of the BC Lions, were in putting a chase on Bernie Filoni. Filoni has taken to the air 10 times. He's completed 4 of them for 69 yards. Patterson splits end left. Incomplete, intended for Willie Bethia. The ball just a shade behind Bethea as he was being covered by Walt Balicki and Steve Schaefer.
Well, of course, Filoni, again, they have to get back in this ball game. They have to get a touchdown if they're going to come out of here with a good chance at halftime. And there are two passes just a little bit off the mark. The ball may be just a little bit wet, and that's the result of this rain and drizzle we have out here this afternoon.
Zuger, who has kicked 6 times for a 36.2-yard average. Last time boomed one 78 yards, kicking from his own 7. Another good kick, fielded by Lassiter at the 40. He's dropped at the 40. Ellison, Kelly, and Simba downfield. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. A 50-yard kick by Zuger, no opportunity for a return by Lassiter. First down, BC at their own 41. Muncie is still in at fullback. Cap rolling left. Across the 45 to the 47. Darnay Henley upended him.
BC will probably try to keep that ball on the ground now the rest of this half, but he's down in the field. Knowing that this type of lead going into the second half is pretty important.
A gain of just over 5. Make it 2nd and 5. Ball between the 46 and 47. Comer flanked right. Muncie at Hamilton's front wall plugs things up, led by John Barrow. 3 minutes and 10 seconds till halftime. The Lions still about 4 yards short of a first down. Beaumont will punt from his own 35. He's kicked 3 times for 37 yards. He fumbles it. Still gets the kick away. Tommy Grant picks it up. He has a little trouble squeezing it. A flag is thrown. Jesse Williams, who goes in for the 3rd down snaps at the center position, is downfield to make the tackle on Grant.
Well, that's that big break. It can happen out here. It puts Hamilton right back in the ball game.
12 yards, the distance that boot by Beaumont traveled. And the signal from referee Paul Dojak, no yards charged against the British Columbia Lions. It's a first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They're in British Columbia territory at the 45. Crisson and Patterson are the ends as Filoni rolls right. On the keeper, he's to the 40. Dick Fouts making the tackle, along with Mike Kasich.
There's a fine play by Norm Fieldgate out there, who only on the option play stepped inside of the block, and he was the last man. If only got by him, he had the option with the remaining halfback with his halfback outside of him.
A gain of 5, 2nd and 5, Hamilton at the 40. 20-1 is the score. The BC Lions leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2 minutes and 33 seconds till halftime. Grant couldn't quite squeeze it. Vi Bailey was covering on him. It will be 3rd and 5 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats from the 40. Number 18, Tommy Grant. 28, Johnny Counts coming off. 22, Don Sutherland has gone in. This could be a field goal attempt. It's a high snap, straight back to Sutherland. He's looking, throwing, intercepted as it's picked off by Neil Beaumont, and Beaumont is dropped at the 29. John Simba making the tackle on Neil Beaumont. The intended receiver on that one was number 70, Dave Beatty. But what about that play?
Well, that was obvious. I thought it was going to be a screen at first, but it was a pass. It was a fake field goal, very definitely. And Beatty was open, and Southern could have gotten him the ball for a first down. So they had to gamble because 3 points doesn't mean a lot at this point. With 2 minutes to go, they had plenty of time to go in for the touchdown.
First down for the BC Lions at the 29. Morris and Homer flank to the left. Gap throws intended for Morris, incomplete. Joe Zuger, the defensive halfback, covering on Ron Morris. Getting back to that third down play by Hamilton on the fake field goal, Bernie Filoni, Bud, carried out a good fake. He reached high in the air as though the ball had sailed over his head.
Well, I think it might have been to Filoni. I think it might have been to Filoni, and he was going to fake the kick. Southern would have faked the kick, and then Bernie would have rolled out of there, which would have held the defense in there. But BC had 2 men back, 4 men defending in linebackers' position, so they were looking for it also.
Mac Burton, the split end right. On the draw, this is Willie Fleming. John Barrow got a piece of him and halted his forward progress at the 33.
Watch for a big rush here by Hamilton.
People may be wondering just where Bob Swift is. He was injured earlier in the ball game. He has a bruised knee. At the BC bench, they have frozen the knee and expect Swift to be back in there sometime in the second half.
Number 35 is Swift, up and moving around at the bench. Beaumont, who has averaged 30.7 yards for 4 kicks, will boot it from the 20. He gets a good kick away. Taken by Henley. And Henley is hit hard on the far side of the field. Bill Muncy and Jesse Williams moved up on Darney Henley. A 38-yard kick and a 6-yard return, and with 57 seconds remaining till halftime, it's a first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at their own 45. The British Columbia Lions lead the football game 20-1. The Lions in the light-colored uniforms, the Hamilton Tiger Cats wearing the dark jerseys. Filoni getting a chase from Fouts and now from Kasich. Kasich's got him.
Well, he was going for the long one. No question about that. He just didn't get enough time.
Again, an example of the mobility, Bud, of that big Mike Kasich, who tips the scales at 270 pounds.
Well, he and Fouts, both big men, and both put a big rush on there.
A loss of 2 on that play. From the 43, second and 12, Hamilton, 26 seconds till halftime. Flags are down. It could be Mike Kasich appeared to be the man just a little anxious defensively for the British Columbia Lions.
British Columbia now is in a prevent defense or a victory defense or whatever the case may be, where they have 5 deep men and have a Beaumont will be the deep safety man back here to prevent anything long. They don't care if they get 5 or 10 or 20 even, but they don't want the big one.
Second and 7 after the 5-yard gain on the penalty. Filoni throws, almost intercepted by Paul Steele. The intended receiver was Tommy Grant. It will be 3rd and 7. 14 seconds are left in the first half. The British Columbia Lions lead the Hamilton Tiger Cats 20-1. Ron Morris and Bill Lassiter are back for the British Columbia Lions. Zuger moves that football. Taken by Morris at the 2. Some fine running on that punt return as he gets up to the 19-yard line as the gun sounds to end the first half. And the score, British Columbia 20, Hamilton 1. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto.
Listening now is Bud Grant, our color man today and the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We're going to be looking at some of the highlights of the opening half on videotape. No scoring until later in the first quarter, and after a Joe Kapp pass to Ron Morris, that set up the play before the Lions' first touchdown. It was a pass to Willie Fleming into the 3-yard line. Cohee kind of tripped up on the play, and Bud, as we have a look at that Kapp to Fleming pass that set up a touchdown, just what was the whole part of the play?
Well, I think Willie was actually not the main receiver. You see Willie clearing up there. Kapp gets away from the rush, and he comes back. Willie comes back to the ball, and Cohee slips. It was a great play by Willie Fleming and great recognition by Joe Kapp to set up that first touchdown.
Well, from there, Bud, they had one smash at it and got into the 1-yard line and were stopped. But then on the next play, Bob Swift, who is out of the ball game now with an injured knee, went over from 1 yard out.
Yes, and this is, of course, the power that BC has, and when you get down in there, you can put as many men as you want, but Swift is going to go.
Here's the second quarter play now, a third down field goal attempt.
Oh, that's the extra point after the first touchdown, I think, Dan.
A little curve. Anyway, the score was BC 7 and Hamilton nothing. Then the second quarter, and that was a real weird and wonderful play on that field goal attempt with Oler throwing the pass to Carpin.
Well, this is one of the breaks of the game. A perfect field goal position. Score 7-0 BC. They line up inside of what you normally kick the extra point for. Then I don't know, not sure if it was a bad snap or Oler just dropped the ball, but he very alertly, watch him here, picks the ball up. Carpin looks for the kick, and he finds a pass instead for 6 points and big play.
The convert was no good, and the Lions led in the ball game by a score of 13-0. The other scoring play for BC in the second quarter came later on just a great run by Willie Fleming. You see this man all the time, Bud. We don't see him that often in the East, but he is a great football player.
This is a typical Fleming play where he gets in the crowd, comes out one side, skips out, you might say, and finds daylight. He had Henley at a very distinct disadvantage because he had the footing. Henley was going backwards. Henley slipped a little bit, and Willie went in. But I think the key is that offensive line, they gave Willie the room. The defense that Hamilton was in was a defense that were Zuger keys on Willie, but he got cut off on the inside and gave Willie the room because they had no middle linebacker. Here's Willie. There's a trap there.
Zuger caught in the rush.
Caught in the rush, and watch Henley here. As Willie geeks him a little bit, the slippery field, Henley couldn't catch up.
That's the old story. The offensive player knows what he's going to do. The defensive man doesn't. Thanks very much, Bud. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto.
The teams have moved back onto the field for the second half. We're just a few moments away yet from kickoff. Let's take a look at some of the statistics. In first downs, the BC Lions had 11, Hamilton 6. British Columbia rushed for 117 yards, Hamilton for 60. BC passed for 119 yards, Hamilton 69. Joe Kapp attempted 12 passes. Actually, he attempted 11. Peter Oler attempted 1, and they were successful on 7 occasions. Hamilton tried 14 passes. Bernie Filoni and Don Sutherland clicked on just 4 of them. Each side had 1 pass intercepted. Hamilton fumbled twice and lost one of those fumbles. Let's take a look at our scoreboard. The British Columbia Lions 20, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 1. We've played 30 minutes of the Grey Cup game 1964. Just about set for the second half to begin and to call the play-by-play of the second half of this afternoon's football game from Ottawa, Dan Kelly.
The deep man for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, number 28, Johnny Couts, and number 16, Willie Bethea, back at the Ticat 2-yard line. Norm Fieldgate will kick off for the Lions. They lead the ball game by a score of 20-1. Heading into the final 30 minutes of regulation time. Fieldgate is number 75. The referee, of course, is Paul Bojek. Bethea at the 12, 20, 25, 30, out to the 34, maybe the 35-yard line. Stop there. Tom Brown, along with Paul Seal, down to make the tackle for the BC Lions. A 53-yard kickoff, a 23-yard return, and it's 1st and 10 for the Tiger Cats. The ball at the Hamilton 34, just outside the 34. Maloney, the Hamilton quarterback, 18 Grant, the flanker, 16 Bethea, the right halfback, 25 Baker, the fullback, and 28 Counts, the left halfback. Grant, the flanker, to the right side. Maloney hands to Baker, out across the 40 to the 42. Stop there by Schaefer. Tom Brown in on the stop as well. The gain on the play, 7.5 yards. So it's 2nd and 2.5 to go for the Tiger Cats. Number 46, Chet Nixa, the veteran center, over the ball for Hamilton. The handoff to Baker across the 45 out to the 47-yard line, has the first down.
Well, Hamilton very wisely or very necessarily had to take the ball, and BC took the win, so Hamilton's against the win in this second half, and they're going to have to move that ball against that win for 15 minutes here.
1st and 10, Ticats at their own 47. Bethea, he's out to the 52. Walt Palicki, the inside linebacker, making the stop.
But we've just had word from downstairs that the Hamilton Tiger Cats during the first half did not have communication between the spotter's box and the field.
There's a lot of people, a lot of wires running through this stadium, Don. I could believe it.
Gain of 5 at 2nd and 5, Hamilton. Maloney still with that ball. Pitching it out, not a count. On the sideline. He could go all the way. The 10, the 5. Touchdown, Johnny Count. A 58-yard touchdown run. They're back in the ball game, and looked like Hamilton's come out of here fired up. Gone to the running game. The option play by Poloni, the master of it. Out the count, very deliberate timing. Touchdown, and it's a new ball game. 58 yards, the run by Count. Don Southern will try for the extra point. Bernie Poloni will hold. Our end zone camera will pick it up. It's good. And as Bud Grant mentioned, a brand new ball game as the Ticats come out against the wind in the 3rd quarter and roll for a touchdown. Let's take a look at our scoreboard. The British Columbia Lions 20, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 8, with 12 minutes and 59 seconds still to play in the 3rd quarter.
All right, there's the play that's throwing lateral out to Count, and Count goes for the touchdown. He drew Paul Seal in. That Count's outside. Big play.
Back to the field. Southern will kick off for Hamilton. Fleming, Morris, and Muncie, the deep man. Jim Carpin, one of the semi-deep men, takes the kickoff.
Taken by Carpin.
By Zeno Cars. And the Lions have a first down. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. First down, BC from their own 30-yard line. Morris is the flanker to the left side wide. Burton's out there as well. The pass to Morris, no good. Just about bounced into the arms of Garney Henley. Morris had the ball bounce off his hands and then right into the arms of Henley, but neither could hold it.
But is that a case of where Cap is throwing to a predetermined spot?
Well, there's an area in there. They try to remove the linebacker from in front of Morris, and this has, of course, been a successful play for them all year. But I noticed that Muncie's back in there at fullback, so the Swift must be out.
The report was that Swift had a knee injury. Muncie is in at fullback. Cap splits Burton to the left. Morris is the flanker left. Homer flank right. Throwing long for Burton. No good. Just about intercepted by Cohey, number 24 of the Ticats, who got his hands on the ball but dropped it. So it's a kicking situation for the British Columbia Lions. Third down and 10 to go back at their own 30-yard line.
Beaumont will have the wind on this occasion.
Henley and Grant, the deep man. Beaumont is kicking. He's averaged 32.2 yards. And right now, as Bud mentioned, has the wind at his back. Bounces at the 48. Taken by Henley at the 42, and he's back to the 44-yard line. Knocked out of bounds there. Jim Carpin, number 72 for the Lions, down to make the stop. The 37-yard punt, and the Tiger Cats have the ball and a first down at their own 48.
A case where Neil Beaumont was the leading punter in the West with a 42.1-yard average. He has not had too much success thus far in this game.
Make that the 44. First and 10 Ticats at their 44-yard line. Maloney pitching out the count. Stopped and hit hard by number 20, Bill Muncy, who came firing up from that left defensive halfback spot and really gave the Hamilton ball carrier a rough ride.
Well, that was the same play the other way. Maloney came right back with it. This time Muncy came up, made a big play. He didn't have as much room out there, but you'll probably see it back against Paul Seal and Bailey on the other side very soon again.
A loss of 2 on the play. Muncy going both ways, of course, for the line. Second and 12, Ticats. Maloney throwing. It's good to Al Patterson right at the center field stripe.
They're catching Bilecki in there, rushing, and they're throwing in front of Schaefer with Patterson.
Schaefer made the stop, a 13-yard gain as Patterson was scraped all over by 2 defenders and made the catch. First and 10 Ticats at the center field stripe. They're going against this wind in the third quarter. BC 20 and Hamilton 8. Bethea stopped from behind by number 44, Walt Bilecki. Tom Brown in on the stop as well. Short gain on the play, gain of 2. 10 minutes and 26 seconds to play in the third quarter. Second and 8 for the Ticats. Rank is the flanker left. Maloney stopped as he tried to run out of there. Walt Bilecki, the man that made the stop on the play.
Well, that time it worked. Bilecki was in there and made the tackle, so it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't.
Loss on the play of just over 2 yards, so it's third and 10 and a half. Morrison Lassiter, the deep man, back at the 17-yard line. Zuger to do the punting for the Tiger Cats. Picked up by Morris at the 19. He's back to the 23-yard line. Stop there. John Simba, the first man down for the Tiger Cats, along with Gene Sapatelli in on the tackle.
Return to the Lions.
36-yard punt into the wind, a 3-yard return. And the Lions have first down, the ball at their own 24. Wertfager over the ball at center. First and 10 Lions. Cap turns around. There's our end zone camera shooting from behind. Cap throwing, and it's no good, intended for Mac Burton.
He was looking for Willie Fleming down that far sideline, but he was well covered by Don Southern.
What a case of where Joe Cap turned around to talk to Bill Muncy, probably explaining his assignment to him.
Just checking with him. He wants to know that he's got protection on his backside there.
Mosca and Newman giving Cap a good rush. Second and 10 for the Lions. That ball is at their own 24-yard line. 9 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the third quarter. Morris, the flanker left. Cap throwing. to Morris, in and out of his arms as that ball hit him chest high and just bounced about 7 yards in the air.
Incomplete. Third down.
Bobby Kuntz defending on the play.
That's the same pattern they've completed. They find Morris open. Hamlin's going to have to stop it. They're trying to cover Willie out here in the flat. Morris is getting in behind that linebacker.
Grant and Henley, the deep men for the Tiger Cats at the Hamilton 43. Beaumont to do the punting for the Lions. He's averaged 33 yards on 6 punts so far today. Tommy Grant at his own 44. Out to the 49-yard line, the Hamilton 49. Ken Sugarman down to make the tackle. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. The Tiger Cats, 1st and 10 from their own 49. Grant is the flanker to the left side. The handoff goes to Bethea. Out to the 53-yard line, stopped on the play by Katsapis and Balicki. Gain of 4. Defensively for the Lions, 70 Fouts, 67 Kasich, 60 Katsapis, 64 Martin. Backed up by 75 Fieldgate, 44 Balicki, 69 Brown, 71 Seal. The deep backs, 20 Muncie, 27 Beaumont, 26 Schaefer, 38 Bailey. 2nd and 6 for Hamilton from their own 53. Pitch out to Count. Across center field into the BC 49-yard line. Stopped on the play by Norm Fieldgate. And a first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
What you said prior to the game that Hamilton will probably exploit the wide stuff as far as that BC defensive club is concerned. That appears to be what they're doing in this second half.
They're doing it very smartly. They're staying on the inside enough to hold BC in and coming to the outside when they feel they have them set up.
1st and 10 Hamilton. The ball is at the British Columbia line, 50-yard line. Maloney throwing, no good, knocked down by Fieldgate. Pass was intended for Stan Crisson. There's Crisson going back to the Tiger Cat huddle. Maloney has thrown 15 passes, completed 5 so far for 82 yards. British Columbia 20, Hamilton 8, 7 minutes and 18 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. The fake draw, Maloney with the ball, a screen pass to Counts. He slips and falls right at the 50-yard line, and Fieldgate was Johnny on the spot to pounce on him and hold him there.
Fieldgate made the tackle. No gain on the play. Third down.
No gain on the play, a loss perhaps of a half yard.
Well, this is certainly a hard-hitting game, and I think one of the outstanding features is the lack of penalties we have. Very clean game.
Morris and Lassiter, the deep men for the Lions, back at the British Columbia 12-yard line. Zuger will punt. He's averaged 40.1 yards so far. Kicking into the wind. Hangs up there. Morris takes it on the run at the 22. He's back to the 26-yard line with 4 or 5 Tiger Cats down to stop him there. Sepatelli, the first man through.
But how great a loss would be that lack of communication during the first half?
Well, we think it would be very difficult to get down the things, the plays and the observations, double-check your information. I think this is a real handicap for Hamilton to not have the communication that whole first half.
British Columbia 20, Hamilton 8, 6 minutes, 49 seconds to play. 1st and 10 for the Lions at their own 26. Cap in the pocket, chased out of there. Throwing and completing at the Sonny Homer at the 46-yard line. Tackled immediately by Don Southern. A 20-yard gain on the play and a first down for the Lions.
First down. Southern made the tackle. Ball to BC 47-yard line.
First and 10 for the Lions at their own 46 and a half. Here's Fleming. Up the pipe and stopped after a short gain on the play, perhaps 2 yards. Ed Herster, who's in there at inside linebacker, replacing Bobby Kuntz. And Zeno Cars, the left corner linebacker, making the stop. Gain of 2.
Ralph Sazio may have sent in information to make sure to keep Cap inside. He's hurting them when he's getting outside in those pass patterns.
Second and 8 for the Lions. The ball is at the British Columbia 49. The fake to Fleming. Cap is throwing. To Homer, it's good. At the Hamilton 52-yard line, pushed out of bounds immediately by Don Southern. And it's a first down after a 10-yard gain on the pass to Sonny Homer. Number 54, Hinton, and number 58, Cotter, the guards for the Lions, rolling out with Cap and throwing good blocks. Cap handing off to Muncie, a fumble. Way to lay on file. Muncie fumbled when hit. British Columbia still with the ball. Gain of 7 on the play. It's 2nd and 3 for the Lions. The ball is at the Hamilton 44. Joe Cap in passing is 8 for 17 and 141 yards. That includes Oler's pass, of course, for a touchdown. Second and 3 for the Lions. And out goes to Muncie. The head down, and he drives to the 35 and a first down.
See Bob Swift on the sideline down there. He's talking to the coaches and the trainers. He wants to get in there, it looks like, Don.
For Muncie, Bud, for a fellow going both ways, is playing a great football game.
Yes, of course, he's big enough, and nice cool day. I'm sure he can go both ways the rest of the game.
First down for the Lions. The ball just outside the Hamilton 35. Morris and Homer, the flankers to the left side. Cap in the pocket, throwing, tipped and knocked down by Joe Zuger. The pass was intended for Willie Fleming. A flag on the field. Rough play against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Perhaps roughing the passer as Paul Dojak marks off the yards. And the Lions now have a first down at the Hamilton 21-yard line. Four minutes and 8 seconds to play in the third quarter. The I formation. Cap, the hitch pass to Fleming, got it at the 20 to the 18-yard line. Stopped there by Joe Zuger.
Cap pass to play to Fleming. Zuger in the tackle.
Zuger's doing a fine job. He's shadowing Willie 2 out of 3 plays here. He knocked the last one down and caught Willie for a 2 or 3 yard gain.
A gain of 3. The ball is at the Hamilton 18-yard line. 2nd and 7 for the BC Lions. They have a 12-point lead. BC 20 and Hamilton 8. 3:23 unofficially to play in the third quarter. Homer and Morris, the flankers right. Burton the split end left. The handoff to Muncie. Stopped from behind, but still going at the 10, 5. Touchdown! Yards and a touchdown for Bill Muncie. John Barrow had him, Bud, and he broke away from the tackle and went all the way.
Well, it was a triple flanker to the right. Apparently they were going to try to run in front of that field goal position so that they could get the field goal, which meant that they had to come back with more than 2 touchdowns. Muncie got some daylight, cut back against the grain, touchdown.
statistician Ross Peterkin pointing out Muncie has carried the ball 6 times for 50 yards, or an 8.3-yard average. Kemp will try for the extra point. Oler holding. It's good.
Here's the play. Watch Muncie take the ball. Break Barrow's cross. Cut back. Gets a brush block and a touchdown. Got Hamilton overshifted to the wide side of the field. He only had 2 men to beat when he broke away.
Let's take a look at our scoreboard. The BC Lions 27, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 8, with 3 minutes and 6 seconds to play in the third quarter. Fieldgate will kick off for the Lions. Johnny Counts, number 28, and Willie Bethea, number 16, going back deep, standing at the Hamilton 3-yard line. Fieldgate puts the boot to the ball. Counts at the 12. 25 to the 28-yard line, and he's pushed back. Number 42, Greg Finley, the first man downfield to lay his hands on Johnny Counts. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. First and 10, Ticats at their own 28. Maloney straight back to throw. Complete at the 47-yard line to Harold Patterson. Tackled immediately by Steve Schaefer. A 19-yard gain.
There's been a backfield change for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bobby Kuntz is now in at fullback, and Art Baker is out.
Baker, as we mentioned earlier, Don, coming into the ball game on a gimpy ankle. First down for Hamilton, the ball at their own 47. BC 27, Hamilton 8 with 2 minutes and 7 seconds to play. Filoni in that pocket to throw. It's complete to Tommy Grant into the 46-yard line and stopped by Walt Balecki. Steve Schaefer, number 26, in on the tackle as well.
Hamilton's strategy obviously has to change now. They have to get back in the ballgame with another touchdown. The quickest way to do it is with the pass.
17-yard gain on the play and a first down for the Tiger Cats. The ball just outside the British Columbia 45. The Ticats going against this wind, of course, in the third quarter. The pitch out to Kuntz across the 45 to the 44. Dick Fouts, the left defensive end, and Walt Balecki making the stop. Velocity yard on the play. Second down and 11 for the Tiger Cats. Filoni in the Ticats at second and 11. He's back to throw. Down the middle for Cresson. A great catch and complete to the 38-yard line. Tom Brown in on the tackle for the Lions.
Brown made the tackle.
The gain on the play about 9 yards, but it will be 3rd and 2 for the Tiger Cats. Third down and just over 2 yards to go for Hamilton. The rain has stopped again. The lights are on at CNE Stadium in Toronto. 22 seconds remain in the third quarter. A third down gamble for the Ticats. The handoff to Bethea. He's into the 35. Tackle on the play made by number 71, Paul Seal, the right corner linebacker. By Bailey coming up in for the tackle as well.
Well, that's a tough 2 yards to get, but it looks like they've got it.
There's the signal from referee Paul Dojak. A big first down for the Tiger Cats.
Talking to head coach Dave Scrine of the BC Lions earlier this week, he indicated that he looked for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to throw to Cresson, a fellow who they had not tossed to too much this year.
First and 10, Hamilton. The ball just inside the British Columbia 35. Filoni throwing out to Counts. The ball is loose. Picked up by the BC Lions. Muncie on his way. 25-20 to the 5. Touchdown. A 65-yard touchdown play for Bill Muncie. A great two-way performer today for the British Columbia Lions. There's a good look at Bill Muncy being congratulated by his teammates.
What a ball game this fellow's having.
Yes, he certainly has. This is certainly his biggest day, and it's the best day to have it in the Grey Cup.
And while that pass to count was thrown as a forward pass, it was a lateral. The ball was thrown laterally, and that's why it was a free ball. Oler will hold. Kemp will try for the extra point. It's in there. As the gun sounds to end the third quarter. Let's take a look at our scoreboard. The British Columbia Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 8 at the end of the third quarter. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. Fieldgate kicking off. Going short and bouncing out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
Fieldgate kickoff out of bounds. The Hamilton 31-yard line.
Ball goes out of bounds right at the 30. So the Lions will kick over again. Only this time back at their own 35-yard line rather than the 45.
Lions will kick off over again. By their own 35-yard line.
With the score 34-8, you might think that the statistics would definitely favor BC. They're not that far in front. They have 16 first downs compared to 13 for Hamilton, 153 yards rushing against 138, 152 yards passing against 127.
Fieldgate will kick off. Counts and Bethea, the deep man, now at the Hamilton 18-yard line. Bethea takes it at the 27. To the 40, 45, to the 48-yard line for Willie Bethea. Bill Lassiter, number 34, the first man downfield in on the tackle for the Lions. A 48-yard kickoff, a 21-yard return, and the Tiger Cats have first down at their own 48. Maloney hands to Bethea. At center field, into the Lions' 52-yard line. Met there head-on by Norm Fieldgate, number 75. Tom Brown over there as well, number 69.
That was an option run or pass there. He had Tommy Grant downfield. He decided to run. He picked up a very important first down, but I think if he'd had a little more time, he could have spotted Grant for the touchdown.
An 11-yard gain on the play and a first down for the Tiger Cats. The ball at the British Columbia 51. Patterson is the split end to the left side. Count tries the short side. And at the line of scrimmage and pushed back. Tom Brown, the first man through. And that man, Muncy, number 20, who's playing a fabulous two-way ball game for the Lions, in to help out on the tackle. Gain of perhaps 6 inches.
Correction, no gain on the right, second and 10.
So it's second down and still about 10 to go for the Tiger Cats. 13 minutes and 48 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Second and 10 for Filoni. He takes off. The Lions 45, 40. Into the 37-yard line. Brown and Fieldgate over to push Filoni out of bounds. A first down for the Tiger Cats. A 15-yard run for Bernie Filoni.
There's a play from the bench. Big Angelo Mosca. They're going to get back in this game. They got to get in quick.
First and 10, Hamilton. The ball is at the British Columbia 36. Filoni straight back to throw. Throwing and completing it at the 28-yard line. Johnny Counts, the man on the receiving end. Fieldgate making the tackle. The gain on the play about 5.5 yards.
Gain of 6 yards in the play, second and 4.
Herster and Mosca again alternate, as perhaps Ralph Sazio, as Bud mentioned, tries to pull the Tiger Cats up by the bootstraps and get them moving here in the fourth quarter. It's second down. 4.5 to go for the Tiger Cats. Baloney throwing for Patterson, no good, down at the 15-yard line. Steve Schaefer, number 26, defending on the play.
This is the theory of the BC defense now, to give up the short passes once in a while, but not give up the long one, and sooner or later you make a mistake or get a break, and this is what they're doing down here. Very grudgingly give up ground when you get down inside of that 25, 30-yard line.
It's third down, 4.5 to go for the Tiger Cats at the British Columbia 31. The offensive club stays in there for the Tiger Cats, and they trail in the ball game 34-8, so no doubt they'll be going for it. Out in running formation. Third and 4.5. Baloney, good to Patterson, right down the middle to the 17-yard line. Steve Schaefer and Tom Brown making the stop. A 13-yard gain on the third down gamble, and the first down for the Tiger Cats at the British Columbia 17. Patterson has caught 5 passes for 79 yards today. Here's Bobby Kuntz, the fullback, barging into the 12-yard line. Pushed back. Tom Brown, the first man, making contact with Kuntz.
You may see the option play now. When Bernie gets down inside that 10-yard line, that option play is his favorite scoring play.
Garney Henley into the ball game now. Thea coming out. The game was 6. It's 2nd and 4 for the Tiger Cats. Baloney. Touchdown to Tommy Grant.
That was a 5-deep pattern. They ran 5 men down the field, and they picked out the open one.
Grant catching his 4th pass of the day at a touchdown play. Southern will try for the extra point. No good. It's off to the side and wide. The convert is no good. Now let's take a look at our scoreboard. The BC Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 14, with 11 minutes and 32 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. Don Southern will kick off for the Tiger Cats. The deep man for the BC Lions, Willie Fleming, number 15 in the middle. Neil Beaumont, number 27, back there as well. A short kickoff by the Tiger Cats. The ball is loose. The Tiger Cats recover around the center field stripe.
What of the Hamilton Tiger Cats still on the page from your book?
Well, here's the case. The ball didn't go the 10 yards required, but the Vancouver man touched the ball, and actually it resulted in a fumble that Hamilton recovered and turned out to be a big play, although it didn't do exactly what it was intended to.
Kuntz trouncing up the Lions as well as me. He was the man that kicked off. Garney Henley recovered the loose ball. And the Tiger Cats have a first down just on their own side of center field. 11 minutes and 26 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. A 20-point gift. The BC Lions 34, the Tiger Cats 14. Counts the flanker to the left side. Grant flanked right. Baloney throwing for Grant. Good at the 45. He's throwing back. Bill Muncy making the stop. The gain on the play close to 10 yards, and the yardsticks come out.
It looks like they may feel that Muncie may be getting a little tired out there. They're working on him, throwing that pass out there to Grant and feeling he's going both ways. This fourth quarter may be getting a little long for him. Now, this is a good opportunity with second down and inches to go for that long pass.
Second down, inches to go.
At least that's what our book on Filoni is.
Second and inches. The ball is at the BC 46-yard line. 10 minutes and 56 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The 1964 Grey Cup game at CNE Stadium, Toronto. Filoni with the ball. He takes off and gets into the 44-yard line, pushed back. The official upended. Tom Brown making the tackle. A first down as Filoni did as Bud said he quite often does, tried to throw, but decided to take off and ran for the first down. Patterson and Grant were both deep downfield, but Filoni took off. First down, the Tiger Cats. Now the ball is at the BC 44. Filoni throwing and completing to Stan Crisson at the 33-yard line. Muncie and Fieldgate into the tackle.
I think if you watch Tom Brown, he is very aware where Hal Patterson is and almost invariably dropping to Patterson's side, and I think you find Crisson to be open more and more.
A gain of 11 yards and a first down for the Tiger Cats. The ball at the British Columbia 33. Taking off inside the 30 to the 25 and is pushed out of bounds at the far side of the field. Bill Muncie, along with Gus Katsapis over. Tommy Grant out playing the blocking role for the Tiger Cats.
Another case of a broken play where Filoni fumbled that ball on the snap from center.
The broken plays are looking awful good today.
The gain on the play was 8. 9 minutes and 42 seconds remain in the fourth quarter. BC 34, Hamilton 14. Second and 2 for the Tiger Cats. Bobby Kuntz into the 23-yard line, piled up there. Mike Martin, the right defensive end for the Lions, making the stop. A flag on the field. Offside against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So the ball moves back to the 30-yard line. Filoni throwing to Crisson, no good, tipped and knocked away by Fieldgate, I believe.
Fine play by Fieldgate, sort of covering up for Brown, who's dropping to Patterson's side here.
So it's 3rd and 7 for the Tiger Cats. Mosca and Herster alternating still, coming in almost every other play. Mosca in there now. 3rd and 7. Filoni straight back to throw. No good. Intended for Johnny Counts. It was too far. Muncie and Beaumont both back defending.
Intended for a count. Incomplete.
So the Tiger Cats lose the ball on down. And BC take over. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. 1st and 10 for the Lions. The ball at their own 30-yard line. 8 minutes and 42 seconds unofficially on the clock to play in the fourth quarter. Number 21, Homer, is the flanker wide to the right. Cap, a little bit of a mix-up. Pitching out to Morris. He's to the 33-yard line, a gain of about 3 yards on the play.
Once again, Muncie went the wrong way. He should have been out here taking the fake from Cap. It's beginning to tell a little bit.
Zuger and Southern making the stop for the Tiger Cats, a gain of 3.
Well, knowing Joe Cap, he's not going to be satisfied with 34 points. He's going to go after some more.
Second and 7 for BC. Flankers wide left and right. Morris to the left, Homer to the right. The handoff to Muncie. Stopped after a gain of about 2 yards on the play. Hersker and Barrow making the stop. Mosca, the last man in. Gain of 2, so it's 3rd and 5 for the Lions. Grant and Henley back at the Hamilton 43-yard line.
Here comes Swift into the game. You can see he's limping on the knee that he hurt earlier in the game.
Number 45, Jesse Williams, doing the snapping. Beaumont doing the punting. He's averaged 34 yards so far. Kicking into the wind. It just hangs up there. Henley takes it at the 50 and is nailed at the 51-yard line. Lassiter and Hinton down to make the tackle for the Lions after the 25-yard punt. Then the Tiger Cats have first down, the ball at their own 51-yard line. 7 minutes and 13 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. British Columbia 34, Hamilton 14. Filoni still with the ball, going for Grant, complete at the 42. He's to the 41-yard line. Steve Schaefer making the tackle for the Lions.
One of the reasons why Tommy Grant was chosen the outstanding player in Canadian football, the outstanding native Canadian, that is.
A 19-yard gain, and the Tiger Cats have a first down at the British Columbia 41.
Well, they've completed that pattern every time they've thrown it now.
Filoni back in that pocket to throw again. Throwing for Patterson, no good. Schaefer, the man knocking the ball down. 2 or 3 others were right with Patterson as he was well covered. Now 6 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10 for the Tiger Cats. Filoni throwing deep for Henley. Too deep by Bailey, back defending for the Lions. Mike Martin giving Bernie Filoni a good rush. And it's 3rd and 10 for the Tiger Cats.
Might look for another fake here.
Lassiter and Morris are going back. Zuger does punt. Goodman with that win. Morris just lets it bounce over the dead ball line for a single point. A 66-yard single point for Joe Zuger. Let's take a look at the scoreboard now. The BC Lions 34, the Tiger Cats 15 with 5 minutes and 58 seconds to play. And the BC Lions are only 5 minutes and 55 seconds away now from winning their first Grey Cup. They lead in the ball game by a score of 34 to 15. And they have a first down at their own 25-yard line. Cap throwing deep. No good at the sideline at the 50-yard line. Ron Morris, the intended receiver, he made a diving grab at it. Garney Henley defending on the play.
Well, Cap's a gambler. Here he is with 5 minutes to go in the ball game and pretty well wrapped up, and he's going for a pass out in the deep flat, which, if intercepted, could turn into a touchdown.
Cap has hit on 9 of 20 passes for 144 yards. 2nd and 10 for the Lions at their own 25. A mix up in the backfield again. Cap with the ball and stopped by 66 Herster, the inside linebacker. A loss on the play. Play will resume in 1 minute. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto. Five minutes and 15 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The BC Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 15. Henley and Grant, the deep man at the center field stripe for Hamilton. Beaumont to do the punting. He's averaged just over 33 yards on 8 punts today. He's going back and conceding a safety touch. This could be close. Unofficially on the clock, 4 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the ball game. Paul Dojak is coming over to the bench.
Less than 5 minutes, they may have to kick off to Hamilton.
So the Lions give up a safety touch, but now, as Bud mentioned, whether he conceded before the 5-minute mark, after the 5 minutes, with only less than 5 minutes remaining in the half or the game, you must kick off after conceding a safety touch. And it looks as though it did come after the 5-minute mark, and the Lions will kick off.
Well, that one backfired a little bit. And it was a matter of a second, but
Let's take a look at our scoreboard now. The Lions 34, the Tiger Cats 17. With 4 minutes and 58 seconds to go. So the strategy missed by 2 seconds, as Bud mentioned. Dave Strine and the Lions at the BC bench. Counts and Bethea are the deep men for Hamilton at the Tiger Cat 33-yard line. Fieldgate coming into the ball game along with Tom Brown. Fieldgate will kick off.
you don't see that play too often. That was very close to the time limit, and Hamilton will probably get the ball in addition to the 2 points where they would have if he had a kick.
Fieldgate talking with referee Paul Dojak. Willie Fleming is standing by as well.
But then there are always some strange things happening in the Grey Cup.
Number 75, Norm Fieldgate, will kick off for the Lions. Taken by Bobby Kuntz at the Hamilton 47 across center field. Inside the 50 to the BC 43-yard line. Stopped there by Pat Claridge. Matt Burton, number 76, in the tackle. A 38-yard kickoff, a 20-yard return. And the Tiger Cats have the ball in the first down at the British Columbia 43 with 4 minutes and 47 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Maloney still with the ball. Being chased by Martin, gets away across the 40 into the 37-yard line for Bernie Filoni. A good block from Chet Nixa. Stopped from behind by Walt Balecki. A 7-yard gain on the play. It's 2nd and 3 for the Tiger Cats. The ball is at the British Columbia 37. The pitch out to Kuntz across the 35 to the 34. Gus Kasapis, first man making contact. He's number 60, just getting up. Gain of about 2, so it's 3rd and 1 for the Tiger Cats.
Third down, a yard to go.
3 minutes, 51 seconds to play. Coates just diving through on the 3rd and 1 situation. As you can see, referee Paul Dojak motions first down for the Tiger Cats. The tackle on the play made by Kasich and Kasapis. The ball is at the BC 32, and it's 1st and 10, Hamilton. Filoni throwing for Tommy Grant and completing it at the 20-yard line by Bailey, making the stop for the Lions. Gain of 12 on the play and a first down for the Tiger Cats.
20-yard line.
Three minutes and 10 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10, Hamilton. The ball just outside the BC 20. Filoni takes off at the 15 into the 12-yard line. Tackled from behind by Tom Brown. Gus Kasapis in on the stop as well. Gain of 8 for Filoni. And so it's 2nd and 2 for the Tiger Cats. 2 minutes and 41 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. Counts as the flanker to the right side. Grant the flanker left. Filoni runs out of there at the 10 to the 8-yard line. Tackled from behind by number 64, Mike Martin. Filoni has the first down. Norm Fieldgate in helping out on the tackle as well.
Well, a very hard-hitting game. I think you can see the effects of it now as both teams are starting to get just a little bit weary going into the last stages here.
First and goal to go for the Tiger Cats at the BC 9. Filoni throwing. Touchdown! A flag on the field. The pass complete to Stan Cresson. Beaumont making the stop. A flag on the field.
It is a Hamilton touchdown.
We'll wait for the official signal from referee Paul Dojak. Illegal interference against the Lions, of course, declined by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Beaumont, no doubt the man being nailed with the infraction.
Well, there was a good play by Filoni. He sent 5 men upfield and just sat back there and waited to find the open man, and he did.
Don Southern will try for the extra point. It's good.
Southern started with attempt is good. For the BC Lions, 34. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, 24.
Now let's have a look at the scoreboard. The BC Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 24. The network telecast of this game is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto. 1 minute and 51 seconds remain in the 4th quarter. The Tiger Cats will kick off to the BC Lions. Morris, Fleming, and Muncy, the deep men for the BC club. Fleming, the man in the middle, back at the goal line. There's Kuntz in the short kickoff again. The ball goes loose. A pile-up. A pile-up at the 37-yard line.
Well, I think everybody in the park knew that was going to be a short kickoff, and it almost worked.
The Lions recovered the ball, and it was number 58, Steve Cotter, the man that pounced on the ball, and the Lions have first down at their own 36. Keep an eye on number 74, Pete Newman of the Tiger Cats, the right defensive end. The talk is that this will be the veteran Pete Newman's last game of football after a great career. 1st and 10 for British Columbia at their own 36. The handoff to Morris out to the 40-yard line. Stopped from behind by number 76, Ralph Golston. The gain of the play, 4 yards. It's 2nd and 6 for the Lions. 1 minute and 10 seconds remain in the fourth quarter. Seconds ticking away. 58, 57, 56. 2nd and 6 for BC. The flag on the field as Cap just took the pass from center, and the flag, no doubt, is for too long putting the ball into play. As Cap and the Lions are taking plenty of time just running this clock out. There's the signal from referee Dojak. Too long putting the ball into play. So it's 2nd and 11 now. 47 seconds, as you saw on the scoreboard, left in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 11 for the Lions. Cap and the Lions with that I formation. Cap going back to throw. Throwing deep for Burton. He just fires it. No good. Burton and Southern both went up, and the ball bounced away. So the pass is incomplete, and it's 3rd and 11 for the Lions with 41 seconds to play. Don Whitman has already left the rooftop broadcast location, and he'll be in the winning team's dressing room following the game, talking to both players from the winning and losing sides. 3rd and 11. Henley and Grant, the deep men for the Tiger Cats. Neil Beaumont to do the punting. Gets a good one into that wind, sends Henley back to the 38-yard line. Henley on the way and is knocked out of bounds at the BC 53. Bill Muncy, the man down to knock the Hamilton player out of bounds. A 37-yard punt and a 19-yard return. And with 14 seconds to play in the fourth quarter, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have the ball on the first down at the BC 53-yard line. The score, British Columbia 34, Hamilton 24. Maloney throwing the screen to Counts. 50 to the 45 to the 43-yard line. As Paul Dojak waves the signal and the gun sounds to end the 1964 Grey Cup game, the British Columbia Lions have won the Grey Cup for the first time. Both teams down in the center field area congratulating each other. And the BC Lions, who were beaten last year 21-10 by the Tiger Cats in the Grey Cup, come back this year to win it and take the Grey Cup back home to British Columbia and the city of Vancouver after a great two-way effort against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a team that was favored by 7.5 points before this ball game. Number 44, Walt Malicki, has a nice souvenir, grabbing the football when the game ended. Commissioner Halter with the Grey Cup down at the center field area. Norm Fieldgate, one of the original Lions and a co-captain along with Joe Cap, receiving the Grey Cup from Commissioner Halter. The final score, the BC Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 24. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from CNE Stadium in Toronto.
Willie Fleming, one of the stars of the BC Lion football team, a great ball game, and for you it must be some personal satisfaction after last year.
It really is a real pleasure. I went on the whole ball game too.
Were you all keyed up all week waiting for this one after being injured?
We were ready.
What are you wearing on your hand, Willie?
It's plastic cast that would have protected. I had an operation on it earlier this spring, so I'm protected right now.
Willie, congratulations. Thank you for chatting with us. Here's a fellow who went both ways. The fellow who came up with a great football game, Bill Muncie. Bill, are you a tired boy?
Well, I'm kind of tired. That last play, just about, I was really finished.
When you went in, Joe Kapp on a couple of occasions had to more or less set you straight as to your particular assignment. It must be a little tough moving in there to replace Bob Swift.
That's right. I hated to see him get injured like that, and I always dreaded the day that I'd have to do this, but I'm glad I did a good job, that's all.
Well, you certainly did. You think you lost a little weight? I know you're perspiring a lot.
I think I did. I probably lost about 10 pounds out there.
Bill, congratulations. Bill Muncie. Now here's the head coach of the BC Lions, Dave Scrine. Dave, congratulations. And this is the greatest moment as far as you're concerned.
No question about it. We've been working for 5 years for it, and we finally got it.
Dave, that broken play by Pete Oler for the touchdown to Jim Carpin, that was a lot of quick thinking by Oler.
Tremendously quick thinking, and he looked like he's been doing it all the time, but he just showed a lot of poise.
Dave, when did you think that perhaps this ball game was in the bag?
Well, I thought after we got that break that we had a real good chance to win the ball game.
A little champagne flowing around here right now, and I think everybody's getting a champagne bath, including...
Well, you won't find a happier bunch in this. They just decided they were going to win this breakup, and they went out and played a hell of a game.
Well, they certainly came up with a great football game. Joe Kapp. Joe Kapp. Joe, congratulations. That was a tremendous ball game.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you think you had them on the run at any time?
No, you know how tough they are. They played a tough game the whole time. Bernie stuck in there. They're a great football team.
Joe, you had some pass receivers healthy this year compared to last year.
That's right. There was a big difference. Morris came through with the big catches. You got to give that Muncie credit, 60-minute man.
You sure do. He came through with a great game.
That's beautiful.
Congratulations, Johnny Esau.
Come on in. Let's bring in the Commissioner, Sid Halter, and the Commissioner, Sid Halter, and President Sam Berger of the Canadian Football League. Joe, will you step up?
Captain Joe Kapp, President Sam Berger, and I are here to present this historic trophy, the Grey Cup, emblematic of the championship of Canada. And my personal congratulations for the wonderful show by your boys and your own performance. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Pull it up, Bob.
As president of the
Thank you.
Canadian Football League.
Thank you.
You're a worthy team.
Hey, Bob.
All right, we're ready. Want us to throw it? Want us to throw it?
Dan Kelly back at the press box location at CNE Stadium. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto.
Well, it's bedlam here in the BC dressing room. Dick Fouts, after spending a lot of time here in Toronto, you're with the winner finally.
It's a great way to come back here, baby. I'll tell you. Great way.
How did you find that Hamilton team out there, Dick? As far as their ground game, you pretty well contained their inside stuff.
They're a real strong ball team. We came on real strong. We knew what we had to do. I think we played this type of ball all year long, and just a normal game, but we're a little bit higher. We're real happy.
Dick, the official program, I think, lists you at 250. How much do you weigh?
250.
250, you know more?
Yeah.
How about Mike Kasich? He must be more than 260.
Mike's a little bit more, yeah.
That's a big front four.
You saw our boy Muncie come off the defense and did a great job, brother.
Dick, congratulations.
Thanks very much, babe.
Dick Fouts of the British Columbia Lions. And here in the dressing room, we're going to try to get Jim Champion, the assistant coach. Jim Champion, the assistant coach of the BC Lions. How do you feel?
Well, I feel pretty good right now, Don. I hadn't had time to really realize how good it does feel. I think I'll feel better before the night's over.
Jim, there's a lot of talk that maybe you're going to be a head coach one of these years and in line for one of the open jobs in Canadian football. I don't imagine you're thinking about that
No,
now.
I haven't thought about that actually all week, Don. One of our people back home, I understand, said I couldn't get the people ready because I was working on a job, but that's not true. I haven't worked on a job, and I won't till after this celebration.
Were the Hamilton Tiger Cats, did they run the type of plays that you pretty well had them figured?
They ran exactly what I thought they would. I thought our boys did a heck of a job, contained them as long as it mattered. We gave them the ball 2 times when they shouldn't have had it late in the game, and they got a score. And but other than that, I thought there was a heck of a game for our kids.
Jim Champion, the assistant coach of the BC Lions. The network telecast of this game between the British Columbia Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto.
Well, Bob Bailey, you've been waiting since day one of the BC Lions for this moment. You finally made it.
That's right, John. It's a really great feeling.
Amazing thing out there today. Your club did more things better with a wet ball on a bad day than you've done. A lot of clubs have done with a good ball on a good day.
Well, John, we're used to that weather, you know. I just like to say, John, while I have, thank you, Art, just like to say while I can that we certainly have had great support at Vancouver, as you know, and we're very tickled that we're able to bring the Grey Cup back, and most certainly we appreciate all the fan support we've had, both from Vancouver and the West.
Fine.
And also, John, I'd just like to say to my 2 little girls that I'll be home to buy them that party dress.
Okay, bye, Bailey. Thanks very much. Okay, Don.
Thanks, John. Now we got Pat Claridge moving in here. Pat, as a Canadian ball player. Hey, Herb. Now we have Pat Claridge moving in. Pat is a Canadian ball player, your first Grey Cup victory. Do you think it might come in your career as a Lion?
Boy, I don't know, but this winning sure great, I'll tell you.
Well, last year, I think Dave Scrine said that you were a scared bunch of kids when you went out against Hamilton. This year, you had acquired more poise.
I think we're a little awe-inspired, you know, by the Grey Cup and the festivities. And now that everything was out of town and all we had was our hotel room to listen to and the people around there, I think we quieted down. All we wanted to do is win. Win and go home.
Well, last year, Pat Claridge was one of the injured ball players. You played with that shoulder all strapped up. This year, no problem.
No problem at all. No problem at all.
Pat, congratulations on the Grey Cup victory. Thanks for chatting with us. Brad Kane, the Western commentator on the Football Network.
I got a man coming here.
You've got Slim Delbridge, the president of the BC Lions. Brad?
We tried to get Ralph Stasione here, but he was busy talking to his team and shaking hands with them. Slim, what are your feelings right now?
Well, we've had 3 hard years to get where we are. Last year we lost it, but today we came to play, and I think that everyone that saw it on television will admit that they're proud of our BC Lions, and it's a nice Christmas present to bring home to them.
Okay, Slim,
the Grey Cup.
I might point out, Don, that the BC Lions will be back home tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock out of the airport.
I imagine there will be a big welcoming committee. The network telecast of this game between the British Columbia Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats is coming to you from Toronto. Well, that's the first time I've had a champagne shower, Herb. Supposedly the general manager of the BC Lions. I hope that's BC-grown products.
Always. Don't tell the local board, though, will you?
Herb, this year you've had your BC Lions here more or less secluded. Last year, their first year in a Grey Cup, they were a little caught up in all the hoopla connected with this great classic. This year, just a little different atmosphere for your team.
Very different, very different. I think, the coaching staff brought this on, led them into it, and of course, they've done a great job. It's a wonderful feeling. It took 10 years, and we're here 54 to 64, and it's a wonderful, just a great thing. Remind our fans that season tickets for 1965 go on sale tomorrow.
Now that you have the Grey Cup, Herb, what do you do for an encore next year?
Well, we'd like to see it stay for West for a while, and we'd certainly like to take another shot at being in there. That's a long ways away. It's just nice enough to win it now.
When will the Lions be heading home for the benefit of those BC fans?
We'll arrive in a little after 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'd like to see as many of our fans there as possible. They have a special reception area lined up, and these players certainly deserve it. They had a great game and a great effort.
You think
Godard came in?
You think the airport will be able to accommodate them? Johnny Esau, you've got Jake Godard of Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Don. Well, Jake and Herb, you've crossed hands across the table before, but it's been a while since you did it after a Grey Cup game. And Jake, I know that you have a word to say to Herb and a great Grey Cup champion today.
Yeah, usually I like to see Capozzi cry, but I don't like to see him have an excuse like this to cry. He's got tears in his eyes, and by golly, I just have to say he deserves an awful lot of credit. The final analysis, it's the players and coach that does it out in the field. We had it last year. Herb's got it this year. Herb, how about giving it back next?
We haven't even got used to the idea of having it yet, Jake.
Jake, this ball club that you met today came off fired up and as ready as a club ever had against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I would guess.
Yeah, this is the first time they beat us. The thing that, and you can't take anything away from their great win at all. The thing that I have to say about our boys is they never quit, they never gave up.
Right.
Maybe with another quarter we might have been able to pull it out. It was a great game and a great game for Canadian football.
Thanks very much, Jake, for coming over.
The ball club deserved a tremendous amount of credit for staying in there all the way they did it toward the end, and it was a tremendous effort on their part.
It was a great champagne.
All right.
Thanks, Jake. Okay,
Thanks to the two general managers, Johnny. Here's Neil Beaumont. Neil? Brad Keene?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask Neil one question about that intentional safety touch on the kick formation.
Well, it was planned well, but we took too long in a huddle, and the time was out the time we got there. And actually, I think I was in before the 5 minutes was up, but the clock had kept running, and they used the clock on the board instead of the official time clock. But as it worked out, we had a kick off, and it didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
I guess you're pretty happy, young fellow.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, Neil, thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Brad, that just about wraps it up from the dressing room of the British Columbia Lions. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the... I guess we're going to shoot it upstairs. Okay, let's go upstairs to Dan Kelly.
Okay, Don. You probably noticed during the interviews in the dressing room, our cameras were switching back to a field location from time to time, and that was simply because the camera lens, because of all the steam in that red-hot BC dressing room, was fogging up the lens, so that was the reason we were switching away. Just before we get Bud Grant's post-game analysis, a brief look at the statistics. The Hamilton Tiger Cats picked up 25 first downs to BC's 16. In rushing, Hamilton 204 yards to BC's 162. In passing, the Ticats have the edge there, too. 227 yards to 152 for British Columbia. The passes attempted, 33 by Hamilton. They completed 17. British Columbia threw 22 times and completed 10. Just the main statistics in Hamilton. Bud having the offensive edge according to these statistics, but losing the ball game to British Columbia by 34-24.
Well, to Hamilton's credit, they certainly moved the ball probably better than anybody has all year against BC. They've scored more points, and I would assume that that'd be the greatest yardage ever gained against BC. I think this would have to go down as one of the real great Grey Cup contests. There was outstanding plays on both parts. The big plays were made by the BC Lions, Muncie, Fleming, Oler to Carfin. Big plays all the way along. An exciting game, a well-played game. Clean. I think this is a real embodiment of the Grey Cup as it should be. The two best teams in Canada playing this type of a game.
You know that feeling in the dressing room. You've been through it 4 times as a Grey Cup.
Well, it looks very nice, and I can only congratulate Dave Scrine for the fine job that he did, and of course Ralph Sagio for getting his team in the Grey Cup.
Well, Bud, thanks very much for not only your post-game comments, but thanks as well for your comments throughout the game. Thanks. How do you like television, by the way, compared to coaching?
Well, I'd like to coach from up here, I'll say that. It's a better view, and I can envy you your job up here and appreciate the job that you've done. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you, Bud.
Dan.
We'd like to thank the other members of our crew, spotters Mo Simovich, Lou Bruce, Jack Daly, along with statistician Ross Peterkin. And right now, Dan Kelly, along with Don Whitman, reminding you the final score, the BC Lions 34, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 24. The network telecast of this game between the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats came to you from Toronto.
Well, it's still gray and rainy in Toronto, but for British Columbia Lions fans everywhere, the sun is shining very brightly. After 1 decade, the Grey Cup, for the first time in its history, goes out to the West Coast. And it's interesting to note that since the Grey Cup in the East moved over to the CNE Stadium, the Hamilton Tiger Cats cannot win there. 6 times they've been in the Grey Cup since they last won in Toronto in Varsity Stadium in 1957, and they've lost these 4 games here in the CNE Stadium. This doesn't seem to be their place. Vancouver exploded all over the place today. Touchdowns coming from long bombs. Willie Fleming making one of his patented breaks. A fumble, a broken field goal attempt. A very high-scoring game with 58 points racked up. 34 by the British Columbia Lions, 24 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Thank you very much for being with us. This is Bill Walker, now fleeing to the safety of the suburbs. Good afternoon, everyone.